A small café in central London. Past midnight. Rain hammering against the windows. The place is nearly empty. Just a bored barista wiping down tables and two men sitting across from each other, coffee cups between them like battle lines. Thomas Clark and Ethan Wells have been arguing for over an hour. The tension is thick. Neither one is backing down.
You know what I don't understand, Ethan? You sit here, night after night, talking about Islam like it's the only answer in the entire universe. But look around. There are thousands of religions on this planet. Thousands. Hindus worshiping millions of gods, Christians believing Jesus is God, Buddhists following enlightenment, Jews with their own books and prophets. Every single one of them is convinced they're right. Every single one claims they have the truth.
Let me ask you something first, Thomas. If everyone in the world claims they're right about something, does that automatically make all of them correct? Does popularity determine truth?
Don't do that. Don't answer my question with another question. I asked you something direct, so give me a direct answer.
All right, here's your direct answer. Imagine tomorrow morning, 10 different men show up at your door. Each one of them looks you in the eye and claims to be your biological father. They all sound convincing. They all have stories. They all believe it themselves. Now tell me, does that mean all 10 of them are your father? Or does it mean 9 of them are wrong and only one is telling the truth?
That's a completely stupid comparison and you know it.
Is it? Think about it logically. A person can only have one biological father. Not 10, not 5, 1. Truth works exactly the same way, Thomas. It doesn't multiply just because more people make claims about it. The question isn't how many people believe something. The question is, which claim actually stands up when you test it against reality and logic?
Oh, how convenient for you. So your truth is the real one, and everyone else is just wrong? Do you hear how arrogant that sounds?
I'm not saying my truth. I'm saying truth is singular by nature. It has to be. Listen, one religion says God is absolutely one, with no partners, no divisions. Another religion says God is 3 persons in one, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Another says there are millions of gods and goddesses. These aren't small differences, Thomas. These are fundamental contradictions. They can't all be true at the same time. That's not arrogance, that's basic logic. That's coherence.
Fine, then explain this to me. What about the Christians with their 2 billion followers? What about the Hindus with their ancient traditions? What about the Buddhists who found peace and enlightenment? They all have holy books. They all have prophets and teachers. They all have billions of followers who've lived good lives. What makes you so absolutely certain that they're wrong and you're right? What gives you that certainty?
Let's break this down logically, Thomas. Really think about what these religions actually claim. Some religions say God lives inside trees, inside stones, inside rivers, that he's part of his creation. Some say God himself became a human being, walked around on earth, got tired, felt pain, suffered, and died on a cross. Others say he's beyond all form, beyond all limitation, beyond anything we can imagine. Now I'm asking you seriously, which one makes more sense? Does it make sense that the creator of the entire universe became part of his own creation? That the infinite squeezed himself into the finite? That the eternal died? Or does it make more sense that he remains above and beyond all of that?
That's just philosophical wordplay.
Come on, Thomas. You study philosophy. You understand logic. Does the painter become the painting? Does the sculptor become the clay? Does the author jump into his own book and become a character? No. The creator remains distinct from creation. That's basic reasoning.
You're playing with concepts and metaphors. That's not proof. That's not evidence. You can't actually prove any of this.
Can't I? Then let's talk about real, tangible evidence. The Quran, a book that's 1,400 years old. Not one single letter has been changed, not one word altered. It's been memorized cover to cover by millions of people across history. Children, adults, blind people, people who don't even speak Arabic. It's been preserved in its original language perfectly. No other religious text in human history can claim that level of preservation. And here's the challenge it issues to all of humanity. If you doubt this revelation, if you think it's just the words of a man, then produce even one chapter like it. Just one. That challenge has stood for 14 centuries. Scholars have tried, poets have tried, linguists have tried. No one, absolutely no one, has ever been able to meet it.
Oh, come on. That's not science. That's just a poetic challenge. That's like saying, write a poem as beautiful as mine. It's subjective. It proves nothing.
You want science? Fine, let's talk science. The Quran describes the stages of embryonic development in precise, accurate detail, 14 centuries before microscopes were even invented. It describes the embryo first as a clinging clot, then as a chewed lump of flesh, then as bones being formed and clothed with muscle. That's the exact sequence that modern embryology confirms. The Quran mentions the expansion of the universe, something we only discovered in the 20th century with Hubble's observations. It describes mountains having deep roots that stabilize the Earth's crust, exactly what geology confirms about tectonic plates. It mentions the barrier between seas where different bodies of water meet but don't mix. These are things no human being could have known 1400 years ago.
Coincidence, vague poetic language that people interpret later to fit modern discoveries. It's confirmation bias.
Vague? It says the embryo looks like a chewed substance. When you look at a 28-day-old embryo under a microscope, it literally looks like chewed gum with indentations. It describes bones being formed first, then covered with flesh, exactly what developmental biology shows. How is that vague, Thomas? How is that coincidence? One or two lucky guesses, maybe. But dozens? Dozens of accurate scientific descriptions in a book from the 7th century.
Even if I granted you all of that, what about fairness? What about justice? If Islam is the only true religion, if only Muslims go to paradise, then what happens to all the good people from other faiths? What about the Hindu grandmother who spent her life being kind? What about the Christian nurse who dedicated herself to helping others? What about the Buddhist monk who harmed no one? Are they all going to hell just because they weren't born Muslim? Is your God really that cruel? That unfair?
Let me ask you something fundamental, Thomas. Do you believe that truth is relative? That everyone can have their own truth?
Yes, of course. Everyone has their own truth, their own reality, their own perspective.
Really? Then tell me, is 2 + 2 always 4? Or does it change based on what someone believes? If I sincerely believe that 2 + 2 = 5, does that make it true for me?
Mathematics is different.
Why? Why is mathematics objective, but the fundamental questions about existence get to be subjective? Why do we accept that mathematical truth is universal, but then claim that the biggest questions, who created us, why we exist, what happens after we die, how we should live, why do those questions get to have multiple right answers? That makes absolutely no logical sense, Thomas. If truth in mathematics is objective and universal, why wouldn't truth about the purpose of existence be the same?
Because you're twisting everything. You're making it sound simple when it's not.
It is simple. You just don't want to accept it because acceptance means change. It means admitting you might have been wrong. It means your whole worldview might need to shift.
Don't you dare tell me what I want. You don't know me. You don't know what's in my head or my heart. You sit there with your smug, unshakable certainty, looking down on everyone else who doesn't believe what you believe.
I'm not looking down on anyone. I'm not sitting here thinking I'm better than anyone else. I'm telling you what I found, what completely transformed my life. I'm sharing something that gave me peace, purpose, and answers to questions that haunted me for years. I'm not claiming moral superiority. I'm claiming that truth is better than falsehood, that clarity is better than confusion. There's a massive difference.
Is there? Because from where I'm sitting, you sound exactly like every other religious fanatic in history who thinks everyone outside their group is condemned. You're no different from the extremists who blow people up thinking they're doing God's work.
Islam never says that people who never heard the message are condemned. Never. The Quran explicitly states that God doesn't punish anyone until the message has reached them clearly. A person born in a remote village who never heard of Islam? Not accountable. Someone who only heard distorted, twisted versions of Islam from the media? Not accountable. God judges based on what people had access to. But those who have heard the message clearly, those who have the resources and ability to investigate, they're tested on one thing: sincerity. That's all God asks for, Thomas. Not perfection, not blind faith, not checking your brain at the door, just sincerity in searching for truth.
I've been sincere my entire academic life. I've read philosophy, studied logic, debated theology, torn apart arguments for years.
To win. You've argued to win debates, not to find truth. There's a difference,
That's not fair.
isn't it? Thomas, I've watched you in debates for months. You're brilliant, genuinely brilliant. Your mind is sharp, your logic is strong, but you tear down every single argument like you're terrified of what happens if one of them actually stands. Like you're afraid of what you'll have to change in your life if something turns out to be true. You don't argue to discover, you argue to defend yourself from discovery.
I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to have wasted years, maybe my whole life believing in nothing, building my identity on nothing.
Then stop fighting, Thomas. Stop defending positions and start genuinely searching. Real searching, not to prove yourself right, but to find what actually is right, wherever that leads.
Where would I even start? I don't know how to do that.
Start with the Quran, but don't just read it like a textbook. Study it properly. Learn the context. Understand the Arabic. Look at the tafsir, the scholarly explanations. Compare it with other scriptures. Question every verse. Challenge every claim. Test it against logic, against science, against history. Truth doesn't fear questions, Thomas. Real truth becomes brighter when you shine light on it. It welcomes investigation.
All right, I'll try. But I'm warning you right now. I'm going to ask impossible questions. I'm going to challenge everything. I won't just accept things because they sound nice.
Good. That's exactly how I'll know you're taking this seriously. That's exactly what truth deserves. That's all truth asks for. Honest investigation.